What if I told you that the blueprint for the modern internet was almost drawn not in Silicon Valley, but in Soviet Moscow? That the familiar, chaotic, freewheeling digital world we know today was nearly preempted by a centralized, orderly, and state-controlled alternative. This isn't science fiction. This is the story of a ghost.
Although our main interest was in women, we met and photographed many typical Soviet people in the course of their everyday activities.
A technological specter from the Cold War known as OGAS. It was a vision for a Soviet internet, and its failure didn't just change the USSR, it fundamentally shaped the world you live in right now.
Первыми заволновались американцы. Они сразу открыли огонь по мне всеми калибрами, какими только можно.
And the reason it failed reveals a paradox that echoes to this day. Our story begins not with circuits, but with a crisis. By the early 1960s, the Soviet economy was drowning. The central planning model, Gosplan, was suffocating under its own weight. Factories produced the wrong goods, supply chains broke down, and a mountain of paperwork moved slower than the economy itself. The system was dying of inefficiency. Enter our protagonist, Viktor Glushkov. He wasn't a politician, he was a cyberneticist, a brilliant, charismatic mathematician who believed that the language of machines could solve human problems. He picked up an earlier failed proposal and transformed it into something truly revolutionary. Glushkov wasn't just trying to build a network, he was trying to build a central nervous system for an entire empire. So what exactly was OGAS? Picture this, a vast three-tiered electronic hierarchy. At the bottom, tens of thousands of terminal stations in every major factory, farm, and transport hub. These would feed real-time data, output, resources, needs, upwards. This data would flow to perhaps 200 mid-level coordination centers in major cities, which would process it. And at the very top, in Moscow, a central supercomputing hub would act as the brain, analyzing everything and sending optimized commands back down the chain. Glushkov's vision was staggeringly ambitious. He proposed a near-cashless society where all financial transactions were electronic. He envisioned the end of paper bureaucracy replaced by instant data flows. He even dreamed of public access terminals where citizens could, in theory, interact with this system. The project had a name, a number, and a 20-year implementation plan. The estimated cost was 20 billion rubles, a staggering sum but a fraction of what the USSR spent on its military. The stage was set for a technological leap that would redefine the 20th century. But the most advanced blueprint is useless if you're not allowed to build it. And here, OGAS met its true enemy, not American spies, but Soviet bureaucracy. The first and most powerful opponent was the Ministry of Finance. They saw OGAS as a direct threat to their empire of paper and their control over the state's purse strings. They launched a vicious campaign to discredit the project and downsize its funding. Then came the KGB. To them, a centralized information system was a security nightmare, a single massive target for sabotage or espionage. They preferred a fragmented, compartmentalized system they could more easily control. And finally, there was the ideological opposition. Hardline communists argued with stunning irony that the business of communism was a human endeavor too sacred to be entrusted to machines. They saw cybernetics as a dehumanizing Western science. Year after year, Glushkov fought. He scaled back his plans, he compromised, he lobbied the Politburo. But the resistance was too great. By the early 1970s, the project was effectively strangled, reduced to a handful of disconnected, automated systems in specific industries. The unified nervous system was dead on the drawing board. The collapse of OGAS was more than just a canceled project. It was a historical fork in the road, and the path not taken had profound consequences. While the Soviet Union clung to its analog, top-heavy systems, the United States continued to develop ARPANET, a decentralized network designed to survive a nuclear attack. This fundamental architectural difference, centralized control versus decentralized resilience, became embedded in the DNA of our modern internet. Think about it. The internet you use is open, permissionless, and globally connected precisely because of its decentralized origins. Had OGAS succeeded, the global network might have been a series of closed, state-monitored intranets, with access granted not as a right, but as a privilege. The failure of OGAS ensured that the digital revolution would be a Western-led capitalist phenomenon, accelerating the technological and economic gap that ultimately contributed to the Soviet Union's collapse. So the ghost of OGAS never truly vanished. You can see its echoes today in China's social credit system, a modern, technologically advanced attempt to achieve the state control Glushkov once envisioned. It remains the ultimate what-if of technological history. The story of OGAS is a powerful lesson. It's a tale of how a brilliant solution can be killed by the very problem it aims to solve. It's a reminder that the future isn't just shaped by the technologies we invent, but by the political and bureaucratic battles we fight over them. The blueprint was forgotten, but its questions about control, freedom, and the architecture of our society are more relevant than ever.